Hello, my friends. As we're letting people in the Zoom room, blow up the chat where you're from and what you're grateful for today. As we're letting people into the waiting room, blow up the chat. I want to see, Zach and I want to see where you're from, what you're grateful for, all of that. So let's go. And we're not doing this until you go. So, Zach, what are
Let's
you
hear
grateful
it.
for? Yeah. What are you grateful
I'm
for, my friend?
grateful. Oh my gosh, we finally got I'm in San Diego, Orange County is our spot, and we have just had like the best little jolt of sun over the last few days, which energy wise is a mega difference. So literally right before this, I just sat outside, in the sun for like 15 minutes. So whenever we got sun, things are booming.
I love that. I actually, right before this too, I've been on back-to-back Zooms. I had like 5 minutes. I just went outside and had my calls out there too. So I love it.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, welcome you guys to today's vault session. We're grateful you're here. You're in for a treat. Zach is like the real deal. And it was funny because I know you. I mean, Francis and Brett, and you were in our inner circle. And when this title came across my desk, I was like 600,000. I was like, what? And I guess I didn't maybe know what a baddie you are. So give a little background, who you are, what your background, your team structure, all of that before we dive into content.
Totally. So, well, first off, Zach, I live in Orange County. Personally, I'm 28 years old. Okay, I've lived here my whole life in my little bubble of Orange County down here. And
That's a bubble you want to live in. Like if I had to pick a bubble to grow up and live in, Orange County would be it. So props to you.
well, I'm a little extra grateful for it because I'm actually adopted at a really young age. So I was originally supposed to grow up in like Sacramento, which if anybody here's from Sacramento, first off, not hating on Sacramento, but I'll take Orange County, over it. So, I was super grateful for that transition. But sales has always kind of just been a forefront for me. My dad was a math teacher. So, being able to explain things on a little simpler way, I think came across. My mom was actually a family psychiatrist for many years. My grandpa taught mindfulness at Chico State and was into like psychotherapy. And so without really being super into it, my brain was kind of into it, without. So my first like sales job was actually selling leads to realtors. My first phone sales job was the opposite side, of what we're doing now.
So it's interesting because I wouldn't actually, when you're like, my dad was a math teacher, my mom was this, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'd naturally be good at sales because I can explain. But you're actually right. Right. Sales is creating trust and authority. And you do that by making people feel comfortable by explaining. Right. So that's an interesting perspective. Okay. So you got into real estate actually on the opposite side, selling leads. How long did you do that for? And then how did you end up working for the fam?
So I jumped in. That was my first phone sales job. I kind of realized that I was meant for it because I broke the company record in the first like 30 days, of being there. It was just kind of a breeze. And then I actually called my business partner, Francis, trying to sell her leads and getting her onto the program. She said, no, I'm okay. I went and followed up with her for probably 5, 6 months, just over and over and over. And she finally said, hey, like, I'm not going to buy the leads, but if you want a job, like I'll hook you up, give me a call. So it was kind of that like throw it the breeze, you're cool, but like, you don't need to call me anymore, about this. So a week
Yeah.
later, I quit my job on a whim. There was just something that felt really right. And really what it came down to actually is Francis saw a lot more in me, on the phone than even I, was really looking at. So I worked with her as an ISA, and that's now where the ultra calls became. At my lead job, I was doing 400 hand dials a day. I'd pull up realtor.com, pull out the office phone, and literally back a pencil, hit 400 agents, and I'd walk away with about 25, 30 appointments, and it was just the name of the game.
Yeah, I love that you're saying this for so many dang reasons. One is I think realtors think they're not in sales, but every other profession is a sales job. And so is real estate. So I'm not saying that I'm just saying I think there's a misconception that it's not. But you're like, you worked for a company selling leads, you picked up the phone, you dialed, that was your job, right? I think about it all the time. I'm like, I get blown up. I tell this story, like I inquired on a Grant Cardone's events online and it didn't have, I just wanted to know the price and it didn't have the
Yeah.
price. So I got to like the next step. There was no price. So I stopped. They have followed up with me, no hyperbole, Zach, like consistently for a year and a half from their sales team sending me videos from the sales floor to like, and they haven't stopped. And I just think
Yep.
like that is true business. It's true on any business. And for some reason, us realtors think we need to follow up like one time and get a sell or move on. So I love that you shared, like you literally called, and then you ultimately she offered you the job. You came over, you came as an ISA. Tell me, and then we'll dive in. I'll let you go to your content. What was your biggest aha from being an ISA?
So it's kind of funny. The biggest aha was that it's all the same. Like it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're selling homes, whether you're selling a car, whether you're selling security, I mean, it doesn't matter, what you're selling. It's literally all the same. It's just a different prospect, that you're talking to, and realistically a different product at the end of the day. But to be super frank with you, the lead company I worked with does not exist anymore, and it was ranked F minus on the BBB. So selling the quality of the leads was not I wasn't able to sell the product. And so I kind of
Okay.
give them credit almost because it made me how to learn how to sell me, and my energy and get them to trust me to the point where like I would in 30 minutes, get someone from, hey, my name's Zach to, what's your Amex card for a $10,000 charge. And then they would charge it and then say, what was the name of the company? Again, and it wasn't like I wasn't hiding details. I just told them like they bought me. They bought my energy to say, hey, go look at the BBB, and see if you want our leads. It
Yeah.
didn't really work out too well.
Well, and Frances, like, she's legit. And so for her to see in you, like, life is a mirror, right? She's legit. She saw you were legit. And so to your point, like your energy and everything. And I think that's the first thing that you sell over the phone is your energy. Correct. So,
100%.
you guys, you're in for a treat. So walk them through really fast. And I'm going to turn it over to you because my team called and they said, Spring, he's a baddie. He doesn't need you on here. He doesn't need you to come interview or anything. I was like, I'm down. Like, if he knows, then this is here. Because here's what happens. Sometimes people are like, yeah, and then they are not great. They need an interview, and you do not. So I don't want to take your time on it. I do want them to know what does your team look like, the homes you're selling, and what sets you apart. And then I'm going to turn it over to you to do your thing. I'll go off camera, and then we'll come back and do a Q&A so that you can provide the value to everybody.
I love it. Sounds good. Yeah. So we're, as you guys know, Orange County, San Diego, but North San Diego County is about probably 90, 80%, I'd say, of our business. Right now, we're running at about 25 agents. Last year was our first $100 million year that we had in real estate, which was super exciting. We also made a mega team with EXP with only 25 agents, which we also thought was a huge win because our goal was never really to be the 700 person, mega local team, there. It's really to be like the Navy SEALs that are jumping in. So last year was like a big kind of break year for us. And coincidentally, it's when we jumped in really heavy coaching, with you and Brian and Justin. And now for this year, our goal is that we end at 222 transactions with 30 agents. Our goal, we're realizing more and more, we may want to bump up to like the 50 mark, but we're really running the Navy SEAL, squad. And we really like our goal very clearly is to be the number one vehicle for an agent to hit their financial goals while living the best life possible, though. So that means we need to mix in all types of culture and alignments outside of only selling homes, to make sure you're actually living a high level life.
And you do. I'm gonna shut up. But you do. Like you literally, like your team. I think I saw on your arm, you have a tat of your team. Yes? Like you live and die and breathe like this team. So when you're talking about culture, you own it. And same with I think you have another tat because Justin always says work
Yeah,
works. Is that what you
he
have?
has the work works, which is a big part of our culture. Cold calls will never go away. Outbound calls. Um, the work was a good one because simplicity. That's like the big thing that for me I get lost in is the overcomplication of things. And what we're going to cover today is exactly that. Everybody overcomplicates this process. They're like reading 30 different scripts and a million different things and like role playing to chat GPT and like not that you can't do all that. Like I love it, but you guys like we're losing humans, here. So we're gonna break it down super simple. And this right here, like, is simplicity. Like the work works. Stop trying to avoid the work, if you're trying to get paid.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to you with your Q&A after Sandy Payne said Zach, all exclamation points. It's because you're the real deal. So you guys, you're in for a treat. Drop your questions and comments in the chat. We'll get to you at the end. And Zach, I'm gonna let you take it over, my friend.
Cool. Let me pull up my screen
Do you
here.
have screen sharing? Okay, cool.
I
Perfect.
do. We got all set up prior, prepped. Okay, so just to kind of break it down a little bit for you guys, conversion comes down to a few simple steps on the call. So after making 600,000 outbound calls, this is a mix of expireds, geodata, leads, SOI. It's not like it's just been one source, this whole time. It's been all over the place. But what I learned is when you overcomplicate this, everything falls apart. So bringing it back down to the simplicity of what works, okay, and running with it, and also just going off the human brain, okay, because the human brain's very similar in a lot of people. We're going to touch all those items today. So definitely make sure you have a pen and paper. Okay, there's going to be a few things on here that I believe you have never heard on something before, and they're going to make a major difference in your conversion. So Spring nailed it. To start off, you guys, your energy is absolutely everything. If you are in a non-prime state, the second you get on that call, they know the first word that comes out of your mouth. They know, they feel it, they can tell. So some people listen to music. I'm a walker. The second the phone answers, I start walking around and it kind of distracts myself. Me and Spring were just saying we sat out in the sun, for 15 minutes before this. Get your get yourself in that prime state because your energy is the absolute first thing that they're buying. And even if you have this framework and you have amazing words and know how to handle objections, if your energy sucks, okay, they're going to return it and they're going to return to you a sucky energy. Okay, so if you bring in a higher energy, they're going to match you at the energy that you're bringing. So that's one of your key indicators. And you guys should write this down. If you're getting a lot of calls where you're like, oh my God, the prospects just don't want to move forward. Oh, they're just low energy. They're this. Most likely it's because they're mirroring the energy that you're putting out. So the first thing that you want to do is go listen to one of your calls, check your energy, and make sure that you're in a prime spot. Okay. Identity is also going to be part of this. I'm just going to touch on this super quickly. Everybody here should have a very clear identity. And I don't think it's something that's talked about, a lot in this industry, but my identity, now is to more coach agents and lead agents. But before it was very clear, my identity that I literally told myself is I was the one handing out lottery tickets. So like when I called people and they answered the phone, no joke, I was giving them like hey, you just won the lottery. And it was like that excitement call that people get. And when I gave them that and I talked about pairing them with an agent at FAM, because I was an ISA, they just bid it and they'd say yes every time. So that's something that Justin has talked about. If any of you have been on Justin Time, the lottery mindset and building that into your identity when you're doing that outbound is, hey, I'm calling you as if you just won the lottery. That should be what it is when they get you on the phone. Okay. Moving on to our next section here. This is just the framework. So I want everybody to write this down because this is where the ball gets dropped a lot. 10% intro, 80% discovery, 10% close. And we'll go into that a little bit. But what happens a lot here is most agents flip this ratio and they do like 20% intro. They spend, 5-6 minutes just talking about themselves. They ask a few questions for the prospect, and then they spend another 5 minutes talking about all the cool stuff that they want the prospect to do. So it's really important that you guys look at your calls, look at your scripts, and make sure that at minimum, 80% of your call is discovery. Okay, so that means you're not telling them to connect with the lender. You're not saying that you should have the buyer discovery yet. That's all in the close. Okay, discovery means you're asking questions and you're getting the information that you need to get the close when you get to that point. Okay, so make sure that you're not going through your call doing all close and just trying to close the whole time. Okay, because discovery is really important and you're most likely skipping, okay, a whole step here. This is something that I think right here, you guys, my intro is the same every time. I played, I think, 6 or 7 recorded calls for someone the other day on a Zoom. It was an agent on our team that I was training with. And they literally said every single call started exactly the same. I do not call anybody ever, whether it's a friend, whether it's somebody on our team, whether it's an expired, whether it's a buyer lead. My intro is always the same every single time. And the intro is so important because if you come off in this intro as salesy in any way, the walls are instantly going to go up. They're already getting called from a phone number they don't know. So the walls are ready to go up. And the second you come on and say, is this Spring? Hey, can I talk to Spring? Hey, Spring, it's Zach. I saw this message about a home. And we get into this, their walls instantly go up. Okay. And now you're instantly having to break your way through that wall to gain their trust. I personally just don't want the wall to be there to begin with. I'd rather make my life a lot easier. So in my intro, the tone and the energy that I'm using outside of the lottery is, you know me. I'm not a stranger that's calling you on the phone. So if I was calling, Matt, I would just say, hey, Matt. Hey, Greg. Hey, Susan. And then I stay super quiet and I don't say anything until they answer. And you nailed it when they go, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, hello. Okay, and they get this. Oh no, I should know who you are. And what their brain has done is not thrown up these mega force walls. And so right off the bat, I'm in a way easier and way smoother position than a lot of people who are coming and going, "Hey, is this Greg?" They go, "Yeah," instantly put walls up and go, "This person doesn't know me. What are they calling about?" Okay, and now you're having to battle your way through that. So on your intro, yeah, you want to make sure that your energy, your tone are on point. You want them to make sure that and make sure that you're not confirming who it is by saying, is this Greg? Hey, Greg, question mark, and then wait. Okay, wait for them to respond. And also don't remember to forget that because it's really awkward when you go, hey, Greg, this is Zach. I saw your message for home on Google on a home in Dana Point, and you don't give that pause. And they go, this isn't Greg. You have the wrong number. Okay. And once again, you're in a bad spot. So still confirm who it is, but just do it with a simple question mark instead of saying, is this Greg? Okay. You guys, the intro is super important. So I wanted to spend a good amount of time on it. Keep them simple. Okay. Keep them human and keep them intentional. And it should be clear with an easy to ask question. AKA, do you have any questions or want me to schedule a showing for you? That's a yes or no. No, I'm okay. Not interested. Awesome. Are you already local to the area? I'm in a good spot, but easy to answer question. Okay. That's why with buyers, especially new buyer leads, that's one of my favorite questions I like to ask is just, do you have any questions or want me to schedule a showing? Because it always leaves me right in a good spot. Moving on to one of the really fun parts is discovery. A lot of you guys have heard of Ford, LP Mama. There's a bunch of ways, out here to do this. But you guys really, this discovery, this is the main engine of the call. The intro gets you in, okay? It's getting you like in the wall, in the doors, but now you need to take advantage of that. Okay, this is where everything really starts turning, smiles start happening, information starts getting shared. Discovery is absolutely crucial. Okay, your job here is not to impress them during this section, but to understand them. And when they feel that you understood them, that's how you know you did discovery right. So discovery means outside of just criteria. Anybody can go to 2 bedrooms, 3 baths, 1,800 square foot. I like to look at it is that if this is something that could be answered on Zillow, I don't really consider it a discovery question. I consider that more criteria. Just to be super blunt with everybody here, sending homes is not a value add a ton for us. You guys, everybody's getting homes. They're registered on Zillow, they're registered on homes.com, they're registered on realtor.com. So like them just getting homes from you isn't this like huge deal, that blows them out of the water. Quite frankly, it's a commodity. It's something that they can get anywhere. So you need to discover a lot during this section and connect with them on more of a personal point, because then when you're telling them about the homes you're going to send, they're not just the standard property alert that's showing up and they're watching for my email to come in because they know I understand what they're looking for. They know I understand the lifestyle that they want to have. And so when I tell them, hey, I'm going to spend an hour tonight handpicking, scanning the MLS and sending you every single home on and off the market that matches your criteria exactly, They open up that email, okay, and they're excited to see it and they ignore the others. So make sure you're using your Ford. If anybody does not know what this is, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. What we personally do in our CRM, not everybody, a lot of people do it, is they keep a note just with FORD and they'll just fill it out as they get the answers. You know for sure that if you got the answer to all four of those on the call, that you're going to be in a good spot and you're going to have more rapport than just shooting out a bunch of random, okay, criteria questions. One of the last ones I'm going to give you guys too is called magic questions. And at the end, I'll put a link to all the magic questions. If anybody has not read the book, Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents, go on Amazon and get it like right now. Okay. It is just such an underhand way for converting on a high level and asking magic questions. Just to kind of explain what that is, it's a deeper level question that's actually moving the needle forwards. Okay, so if we ask low level questions, we're going to get low level answers, which does not leave us in a place to convert on a high level. If all I know is what they're looking for in a home and their criteria, it's going to be really hard, okay, for me to push them to the next step. So right here, okay, during discovery where I'm getting deep, okay, I'm going, hey, what does getting this home, what's it going to do for you and your family? What's your experience buying a home? Okay. What's your experience working with an agent? Just out of curiosity, has anyone even explained, what the home buying process looks like? This is where we're getting all those little nitty gritties out. Okay. So then when we end the call, I have the information I need to properly close. And that's a big part of these magic questions is they're designed to get you the information you need to close. Okay, if all we're asking is criteria questions, it does not put me in a place to close at the end of the call. If that makes sense to you, just put like a thumbs up in the chat. Okay, if you guys are understanding that, hitting just criteria questions the whole call isn't going to leave you in a powerful place, just throw in the chat, a thumbs up. What this is also doing right here, okay, the last one, it's getting them to really buy into you. Okay. And we're going to touch that on this next section here. And the reason why is because you're creating the opportunity to touch the human brain with the number one drug that nobody talks about, which is listening. Being heard is extremely uncommon these days. People go to work to not get listened to. They then go home to not get listened to. Okay. They just go throughout their whole day with people kind of half-ass listening, okay, to everything they're saying. They're talking to their daughter and she's scrolling on Instagram, okay, while they're talking. She can hear what you're saying, but that's very different than actually understanding and listening, okay, to somebody. So get all your distractions out of the way. If you guys can master this, I'm not joking when I say it is a dopamine hit to the brain. My goal when I'm listening to somebody, I take crazy notes, you guys. I'm going to give you a tip. Shout out to Brett on our team. He got these cool little mini whiteboards for everybody. And I have two of them here. And what I do every time I'm on a call is I just take a bajillion notes on there. Once I get to the end of the call, I'm confirming exactly what they said, typically in a better way than they actually said it. And I showed them that I listened. AKA, they get that little dopamine hit right there that hits and they go, oh, that was actually just heard. Somebody's actually listening to me. So you guys want to get really good at asking, once again, a deeper level question that invites you to listen. If we ask, hey, so how many square feet do you need? 1,200. It didn't really create much opportunity for you to sit there and listen. I'm already having to shoot out my next question. Okay, a deeper level question would be, hey, I understand you're looking, for 1,200 square feet. I mean, give me a breakdown. Is it, just you and your husband moving? Is it, you and your family? Now you're going to get them to talk about their kids. Okay, you're going to get them to talk about their family. Awesome. Okay, how old are your kids? Amazing. And you're going to make all these little connection points, but you need to create with these more powerful questions the opportunity for you to listen. Okay. And once again, just quite frankly, you guys, I know you think you're listening. You're not, though. Okay. I can almost guarantee that you're not. Once again, hearing the words is very different than actually blocking out all the other distractions, sitting there and trying to get a deep understanding for what they are saying. I'll get so much off of just listening to 2 minutes, okay, of somebody. You give me a minute, 2 minutes, okay, and I'll have a great understanding of what's going on. Their tone, I can hear if they're nervous, I can hear if they're in good energy, if they're in a bad energy, if the question I asked hit wrong, if it hit right. But unless you're really listening to all these, you're gonna lose your way to conversion, okay? And it's not gonna feel the same when you start giving them your next steps at the end. Once again, when I'm giving somebody next steps at the end of the call, they're taking them because they have this feeling in their body that I actually understand and actually listened to what they were saying. So if anybody here thinks that you would be super stoked to get heard on a daily basis, put like a thumbs up in the chat. Okay, put something. I think this is something that not enough people talk about. And I'm just saying in the world, I'm not even talking about in real estate. I just mean in the day-to-day world. Once again, people do not get listened to. And so within this 5-6 minute call that they have with me, okay, they got their dopamine hit right there. Okay, they got listened to. AKA, they want to talk to me again. Okay, so when I call, they answer the phone. And most of the time, I don't want to say most of the time, I'll say a lot of the time, they'll even call you back. Okay, because when somebody enjoys something, they're going to give you a call back. AKA, I'm giving them that hit, okay, that dopamine hit of listening, and they're going to want to come back, okay, and get more of it. I've never heard someone talk about this before. I'm very excited for this. I think this is kind of a signature of mine. Totally cannot be. Maybe a bunch of people do it. I do not close without making a compliment. Part of my sales process is to compliment the person on the other side of the phone. If you think about our goal in this call, it's to get somebody to like us, trust us, feel like they know us. Okay, we want it to be enjoyable. We want them to want to get on another call with us. So a few years ago, I just started giving out random compliments on the phone. And when is the last time somebody complimented you and you didn't like them, or you didn't instantly get a little boost? So on every single one of my calls, I always compliment. And I gave this tip out and we've been practicing it. And to be super honest with you, I learned that agents are really bad at giving compliments. They love to compliment about, I'm so happy that you're excited to talk to the lender. That is not a compliment. I'm so happy that, you're deciding to buy a home now. That's awesome of you. Those are not compliments. You guys, that's you being happy, which is fine. But a compliment means something personal. So I'm literally giving you guys my underhand compliment right here. I would write this down. I have used this over and over and over again. If I can't really get something from them on the other side, it needs to be personal though. So for example, okay, we'll get through our discovery. I'll confirm everything back to them. So, hey, Spring, to make sure I heard everything right, you're looking for a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,800 square feet, because what it's going to do is upgrade you and your family to a better lifestyle, get you near their school districts, and save your husband the 25-minute drive to work every morning. Did I hear that all right? They go, oh, shoot, yeah. I go, awesome. Before we go too many steps further, I don't know the last time somebody told you this, but you are just absolute pleasure to speak with on the phone. You have a great way of communicating. I have a legit smile on my face right now. And I stop. And every single time, all you hear back, you can hear the blush on the other side of the phone. You can hear them just go like, wow, this is a nice guy. This is a nice person. I just can't think of many, sorry, excuse my French, shitty people that give a lot of compliments out. You guys think about the happy, the high energy, the high vibration, the person that people like to surround themselves with. And it's typically the person walking around that's complimenting, spreading energy. And that's really what a compliment is. Okay, is you're helping somebody feel good, realistically. So one of my biggest goals, and I really ask you guys, audit one of your own calls. Tell me if you had a good time on that call. That's a real deal question, and it usually hits pretty hard. Please go listen to one of your calls and tell me it was an enjoyable time for the prospect. Okay. And sometimes it is when you're selling to the right personality. But my goal from beginning to end is that I'm going to give this prospect the best freaking time of their life. That by the time I get to the end of this call, they have no freaking shot but to say yes. That comes from more than connection with the lender. It comes from more than setting them up on a property alert or telling them about market stats. You need to get personal. You need to make people feel something. And my easiest way that I've been able to do that is as simple as a compliment. And I'll just tell a really quick story on it. I called a probate. I think this was about last year. And she was like, I don't even know how you know about this house and yada, yada, yada. And I'm getting all these calls and da, da, da. She's going through this whole probate process. It was an absolute mess. She was giving me all this stuff back and forth, back and forth. I couldn't get the actual details. All I wanted to know is that she had the decision, like if she was in charge of who was going to sell the home. So I was pushing my way through, and she dropped the bomb and goes, I go, what do you do for work? And she goes, I'm a scientist. My ears went ringing. And I said, that is so freaking cool that you're a scientist. I go, I can't even remember the last scientist I met. How long have you been a scientist for? She goes, I know, I have fun saying it myself that I'm a scientist. She goes, I've been a scientist for about 15 years. Okay. We literally talked about how cool it was that she was a scientist for probably about 5 minutes. At the end of the call, we got all the dates we needed. We got connected with everybody we needed to get connected with. That house is actually coincidentally still in probate. She texted me to update me on what happens with probate. I can't remember the last time that I had to call her and grab an update. Okay. So when you give someone that feeling, okay, that compliment, they want to come back. They feel good. They want to be around you, AKA they want to surround themselves with somebody like you, which, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't that your goal as the agent? To have people that want to surround themselves with you so they use you. Okay. They know about you. Spring said this earlier on a Zoom I was with her. If nobody knows about you, then you can be the best agent in the world. Okay. But you're not going to have a lot of business. You guys, I've gotten referrals just because of compliments. So really take this one. Okay. Take it home. I promise you, this is going to be one of your biggest takeaways of the entire day because you're not just giving them some words that make them feel good. This is what's completing the experience that they're having with you on the phone. If that makes sense to you, just go ahead and throw something in the chat. This is something that I do not hear almost anybody talk about is just giving compliments. Now we're talking on the phone, you guys. I've done this door knocking. I've done this text message. I've done it on Instagram. Hey, I sent a DM. We actually we're bringing a new agent on the team. It's very exciting. And one of the ways that we made initial contact was I sent a video, personal video of myself with a compliment. And it said, hey, I love your Instagram page. I love your brand. It's ultra authentic. It shows very clearly what your brand is about, family. And I just sent that out. Okay, it was pure compliment. Okay, it was just talking about him. And that started conversations. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, AKA, it was a good experience. Okay, it made things feel good and they wanted to continue that conversation. Okay, hopefully that lands for everybody. And you should quite literally set a goal that on every single call, you're doing a minimum of one compliment. Okay. Okay, now we're getting clear here. We're getting towards the fun part. We're getting to the close. The close is super funny. I can hear some of your guys' suits through the close. Not that you shouldn't dress nice, okay? But I can literally hear your tie all tight, okay, just coming through on how you're closing. So let's break down the close a little bit. Clarity wins every time. A lot of people are thinking that clients aren't wanting to take the next steps with them because they're a non-motivated client, because the market sucks, because it's a bad lead. I'm just going to be 100% blunt with you guys. They don't even understand what you want them to do. Okay. I'm listening to all types of closes and even ones I hear on like YouTube and, scripts that get sent out. And like, it's so confusing. on what some people are asking them to do. And typically they're not taking the next step because they don't have clarity, okay, over what it is. So really make sure that on your close, you're being ultra clear, ultra precise on what it is that you're asking them to do. Okay, so just to kind of give you an example, okay, what we would do would be like, after we broke everything down, I'm giving them the compliment. Hey, Greg, you're such a pleasure to speak with on the phone. I don't know the last time somebody told you that. I have a legit smile on my face right now. The next best steps that we can take from here is what we should do to put you in a position to win is, because you said earlier in the call, this is what, okay, it's just giving them, this is what we should do. We're just like jumping into this close and going like, hey, so we should do a buyer discovery, talk with the lender, get some showings going on. I'm going to send you some homes. And then, yeah, I don't know. Well, let me know when you see something you like. I'll schedule showings. And there's like no actual next steps or clarity on what's going to happen. Okay, so make sure that's always next step. Hey, Greg, the next best step from here to put you in a position to win is that we're going to set up a 15-minute buyer discovery. What we're going to do during this time is get ultra clear on what you're looking for in a home. I'm going to show you all the tools that my buyers are using to beat other buyers in the market. And lastly, I'm going to give you total clarity on how you pick your agent that is going to execute this for you. Okay. Does Wednesday at 3:30 work for you? Simple, clean, precise next steps. They're understanding as well what they're getting out of my appointment. I hear a lot of people booking buyer discoveries. Do we really think that a consumer just knows what our buyer discovery is and knows all the steps and all the things we're going to cover? No. Okay, they have no idea what it is. And so we get in this habit of just throwing out these terms because we use them all the time in the office and on agents and on Zooms and role play and all this stuff. But really, the consumer doesn't hear it. And when they hear buyer discovery, they hear sale. Do you want to come to a buyer discovery so I can sign an agreement with you? Okay, is what they're hearing. When I tell them what they're going to get, hey, what we're going to do is schedule a buyer discovery. What we're going to cover is blank, 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 and blank. Okay, give them clarity over what it is they're going to get out of the appointment that they're showing up to. Otherwise, I can promise you the show rate is going to be drastically low. Our show rate on average is about 88% at FAM. Our confirmation system could 100% be better. So quite frankly, our high show rate is coming from the value that our agents are coming across to their clients. Our agents are extremely high level human beings. That's one of the reasons we chose them to be on this team. Everybody is there for a reason. And so when they really get in their zone and get with a prospect on the call, the prospect is booking that appointment for them and for their value. And that's one of the reasons we can keep such a high show rate. One thing with your guys' close, and I'll leave the closing at this afterwards. I hear people closing one time. So I just want to hear, I know I have it here on the screen. I mean, just be super honest here. And I'm going to look at the chat answers on this one. How many people, raise of hands, are only asking for the business one time on a phone call? It's okay. It's not a bad thing. Okay, but just put something in the chat. If you're only asking for the business one time on a call, just go ahead and put something in the chat. Sometimes they're just not always ready for it yet, guys. Just so you know, on average, I'm asking for the business 3 to 5 times on a single phone call before I get the business. So that's something you definitely want to write down. You want to audit your calls, your text messages. Okay, you want to audit all that. Because if you're getting off the phone before you're asking for the business 3 to 5 times without the business, I'm just gonna be super real with you. You're quite literally throwing away paychecks. You're wasting a lot of time, okay, to end it, to then just get on your next call where you could have just converted that one if all you did was just ask for it, okay, 1 or 2 more times. Okay, so if they say no, And I'm going, hey, Spring, this amazing buyer discovery. We're going to cover exactly what you're looking for in a home and the next steps, da, da, da. And they go, well, actually, Zach, we don't think we're ready to do that yet. I'm going to go, awesome. Help me understand your timeline a little bit better. And I'm going to need to handle that objection, go back into discovery. Because if they are not accepting my close, it simply means I didn't discover enough. So if they ever say no to your close, your very simple, easy solution is jump back into discovery. Help me understand your timeline a little bit better. Well, we're about 6 months out, so we probably don't need to meet with any agents yet. Well, totally get that. Thanks for updating me. What's your experience working with a real estate agent? All I'm throwing out is my magic questions. Oh, well, we've never worked with one before. I go, okay, I get it. And now I'm going to go back in for my second close. A lot of my winning clients, okay, start with this 15-minute buyer discovery because what it does is put all the puzzle pieces in front of them to win. It's going to be really hard over the next 6 months, okay, to put together a plan if you don't have all the proper puzzle pieces. So I think it would be extremely beneficial for your home search for us to hop on a 10, 15-minute Zoom. I'll give you everything that you guys need over the next 6 months, and then we can take things from there. Does Wednesday work for you? And I'm going to go in for my second attempt. And if they say no to that, I'm going to go back into discovery. Okay. Hey, Zach, the market, I don't think it's ready for us to buy. Cool. What are you using to watch the market? Back into discovery. Okay. And then I'll go for my close again. I will do that. Okay. Until there is quite literally nothing left to talk to. AKA, they're going to book. So if you're getting off the phone before you're attempting your third, fourth, fifth attempt of asking for the business, you're leaving it too early. Does that make sense to you guys? Like we handle objections in the middle of the call. Why not the end when we give them our close? We just take this where they're like, well, actually, we're not ready to buy a home yet. We go, oh, you know what? That's totally fine. I'll just send you some homes and I'll follow up in 6 months. And now you end up having this flooded pipeline. Nobody really knows next steps. Stagnant is the word that I was looking for. Nobody here wants a stagnant pipeline. The word stagnant in our industry, okay, usually means it's not going good. Momentum is key. That means for us to be in momentum, our business and our clients have to be in momentum. We can't be in momentum if our clients and business are not. And it's up to us to create that, not them. Quick run through here. Oh, let's see if it's going over. There you go. You can take a quick screenshot of this. This is the full framework that we just covered. So you have a strong intro. Okay, we're going to relax everything. We're going to create a comfortable space. We're the same every time. Hey, Spring. Hey, Francis. Hey, Brett. And then we wait for them to confirm. Then we dive in, okay, to an easy ask question. Deep discovery, ask what matters. You guys should honestly, Justin said this. I will take this from Justin. You ask stupid questions, you're going to get stupid answers. Okay. Ask the freaking questions that are going to move the needle forward. Get the information that you need to know. That's what a professional does. Nobody goes to sit down with an attorney and they're not asking the information that they need to know. A doctor, they're not wasting their times with filler questions. Okay, they're learning the information they need to know. Elite listening. Everybody thinks they're listening. Guaranteed you're not. Okay, almost absolutely guaranteed. Get yourself a little mini whiteboard. Okay, get yourself a notepad. Okay, get yourself something and write down every single pain point, every single goal, every kid, every husband, every wife, every lake trip that they took 3 years ago. Okay, everything that comes off on that call, okay, should be put down on a note. Genuine compliment. Once again, this is huge, you guys. I cannot hit this one enough. If you need help with this, I don't know. I guess I didn't know complimenting was so hard. Maybe it's because I do it a lot, okay, and do it all the time. Go to ChatGPT, okay, and say, give me a list of genuine compliments that I could give people on the phone that do not have to do with real estate. Okay, and get something that's all about them. I'll give you guys a prime example here. I'm actually just going to go to a text the other day. I put this in our team win channel. All of our agents have already seen this one on a training, but I'm just going to read this exact closing framework that I did just the other day. So they said they're a first-time home buyer. We were texting. I'm just reading this right off my phone from the text thread. And they said, we've never had a serious attempt. Now we finally have saved enough money to buy our first home. I said, congratulations. That's really awesome of you guys. Not a lot of people have the discipline to do that, AKA compliment. Okay. Can I make a recommendation I believe will put you in a position to win? They didn't just say, yeah, they said, yes, we are all ears. And I said, a lot of my winning buyers start with just looking at the steps. So when they find the right home, you know exactly what it looks like to execute. Seeing the process before adds a lot of clarity to your first home purchase and preps you to win. It would only take about 15 minutes. And I think it would be very beneficial for you guys. Do you have 15 minutes sometime this week for a quick Zoom? And he goes, I can definitely sit down for a Zoom this week. This was maybe a 10-minute text conversation. Okay, that will lead you guys to a strong appointment that shows and they're in the right mindset to actually listen to what you have to give them now. Okay, during your buyer discovery. They're already sold. Okay, once you're showing, if you do this properly and you've shown up to your buyer discovery, they're already sold on you. Okay, that's pretty much the whole framework walking through you guys. Okay, my biggest takeaways that you guys can really get from here is going to be the compliment, and it's going to be close more than once. I hear way too many people throwing away $10,000, $30,000 paychecks just because they don't want to ask for the business a few extra times.
I love this, Zach. I was literally listening. I'm like, my whole team should be on this. Everybody should be on this because it is true. Like everything you said, from energy to the compliment to how you start the conversation. You know how many times like, hey, is this spring? Instantly, I'm like, oh gosh, But if
Go up
it
the
was like,
walls.
hey, spring, what's up? So I love this. You guys in the chat, if you have questions specifically for Zach before we pop off, if there's anything that you want, Ida, I have seen your messages. For some reason, I cannot comment to the group chat. So if you're asking about upgrade, you're asking about just in time. If you're part of Upgrade and you've onboarded, you should have an email with access to all of this stuff. If you have not, if you're that you're part of. So you should have access. If you don't, private message me directly. I'll get my team looking at what the situation is. We onboard every Friday. So if you happen to onboard this week, you probably aren't onboarded yet. So that's my answer to that one. Okay, let's see. The intro part about Google, are they mostly PPC leads you're calling?
So yeah, PPC and then open house. Open house is huge for us. And I'm doing just in time this Friday and Monday. If you guys want some more, super hyped on it. And we're going to cover open houses on part of that. I strongly believe in our open house strategy. We've generated up to 200 leads in a weekend just from a single open house. One of our agents, Kathy, was absolute savage on that one. But so open house leads proved to us to just move at a way faster pace. So we do generate a lot of Google PPC. We love it. But to be super frank with you, open house is 100% of the time my favorite.
Okay, did I hear this correctly? That's what you're covering this Friday. Tomorrow is open houses. Okay. I will make sure we market that like crazy because everybody, 200 leads from an open house in a weekend is insane, right?
I'll give one of
So
our agents, Holly, a shout out. Like she had 2 weekends in a row, where she just goes BBRA inside the open house. It's getting
yeah.
signed. And so like you guys, the goal like of an open house, you're leaving with business. So I love those leads because they've already seen your face. They've been in a house, etc. So both of those sources I like a lot.
I love that. There's a question here. Can you share scripts for prospecting? Definitely.
Yeah.
PJ, I would say yes, of course. I also think, to be very candid with you, Zach, and tell me if you agree, chat is such a good resource. Like, we'll get you scripts. So that's yes. But I'm saying to all of you guys, if you're like, hey, I need a script for this, go to your friend ChatGPT. I put it in the other day. I was like, I need to teach my agents this. And I know how I say it, right? But I'm not crazy scripted. It full on gave all of it where you break, like the whole thing. So the answer is yes. And I would encourage you to go play around with chat as well. So,
Your guys
and
should
Brett
take
just
your
Brett
notes.
just put it in the link for it. So thank you, Brett.
And I was say, put your notes. You can take your notes from this and just say, make me a script off this framework. You know, you guys can get really specific, you know, and it'll write you a script, you know, based on what we covered today.
Yeah, I'd asked, how do you find leads, probate, deaths, divorces, etc. Lots of ways. You can go to your title company. There's softwares like PropStream, Remine. There's software that you can
Yeah.
subscribe to find that as well.
Vulcan's been good for us in the past. I think you guys have used it before too, maybe.
Yeah, yep, totally. Okay, I'm just going through lots of comments. I'm like, where are we at? I think that's it, unless there's more coming through.
Let's see.
Are these sessions recorded? Would love to listen again? Yes. So, and all these sessions, you guys, are on the upgrade. They're on YouTube as well as they're on the Upgrade Vault. So, upgradecommunity.com. There's a vault section. Every call we've done is on that website that you can go back and re-watch them. Everything from this to the interview with Leo, the CEO of EXP, to the one last week with Via and Veronica as well. Can you share the YouTube page? PG, I don't know. Just search it, put in the vault or the upgrade EXP. I don't know, but you can go to our upgradecommunity.com page and it will be on there.
And
Yes.
I saw one on here from Magali saying like, should I do the buyer discovery on the first call if they're available, or should I book it? I always book for a second call, you guys. I never give it on the spot. I just never believe that somebody's actually ready, you know, to download what I'm about to give them. If you're doing an actual high level buyer discovery, you know, where they're walking away with all the right information, they shouldn't be ready to take that, you know, on the spot. So I've booked it for same day. Hey, how about later today at 3 o'clock? Later today at 5 o'clock. I've done that all the time, but I do not ever give them it on the same call as the initial phone call personally.
I love it. I love that you're saying that. Yeah, because nobody is planning on that initial call to have like an in-depth conversation that you're going to do on the buyer discovery. So the fact
Correct.
that you go in and just say, "Hey, can we reschedule at a time that you can sit down, you can pay attention, etc." is powerful. Brett's hooking you guys up. Brett and
Yeah.
Zach Francis are all partners. Brett's in the chat giving you all their goods. So he just hooked you up with the scripts. He just hooked you up with the questions. He has got you.
Yeah, and if you
All right,
guys
you guys.
want to, you can always like shoot. I don't know, Spring, if you want, like we can put it like in the upgrade, you know, group or something like that. But we're happy to share, you know, like our scripts and questions and all that.
Yeah. We the upgrade community is actually just for our peeps at EXP. But yes, we will get it out. We are starting a free community that we'll start putting out. We'll get it out to you guys as well. With that being said, we appreciate you all being here. Give Zach, if you found this as a value, give Zach some love in the chat, like heart or smiley. Give him a follow. Zach, what's your Instagram? You're always dropping good stuff.
Yeah,
What's
Zach Zen Real Estate. I'll just drop it here in the chat for you guys, make it easy. Boom. You got to post a lot of our office, our culture, the calls, all the stuff that we covered today. Like that's my specialty is conversion. You know, I'm not going to be the one to write your copy for a Facebook ad. Okay. And, you know, and help you with stuff like that. Like when it comes down to conversion and boosting the value of your time on the phones, you know, with the prospect, that's where my specialty lies.
Okay. I love it. I love it. All right. We love Zach. Everybody give Zach some love. Follow him on the gram. We will see you guys. We're going to move this vault call to once a month. So we're going to pack it full of great speakers. Zach's our last one that's like every week. Move it to once a month. So follow us along. We'll post when the next one is. And if you need anything, you know where to find us. Okay. Much love to you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.